So guys, I got my power supply in today, my Meanwell HLG 240H12A. This means it's a 12 volt DC, 120 or 240 or even 277 AC, and up to 16 amps. Now what's cool about this model is the voltage and the amperage are adjustable, and we're going to show you in a few minutes what we're doing here. So on the kilowatt we're using about 95 watts, and over here on the Yeti Goal Zero Lithium 400, you can see I'm putting out about 76 watts and I'm running about 6.4 amps. So what I'm going to do is increase the amperage up. The voltage is set, I think, for the max on this, I think it was around 13.3 on the volts. And I wanted to get a voltage that was close enough to the battery, slightly over. So what I'm going to do is maybe just pull back, and I'm going to show you, we're going to increase the amperage, and that number should go up to 6.4. So you can see right now we're at 7.2, and over here we're at 86, 88 watts. So remember, I don't want to go much above 120. And actually, when I did that earlier video, 110, I think it was starting to make a noise. And I'm curious to see if it's going to make the same noise when we push it a little higher. It looks like it's actually stopping me on the amperage. So we're at 90 watts and 7.6 amps. And I know I got it a little higher before when I didn't have it going through the amp meter. Here, this is where the input comes into for the solar. So I'm guessing there's probably some losses in this wire here. You know, that thin strand of wire going into the meter. But I'm just going to go ahead and just crank it up and see if I can get it to go a little higher. Yeah, so it seems like no matter what I do, like that's all the way up right now, and it's putting 87 watts in. So what I'm gonna do is take this meter out and show you that we can get it a little bit higher, because you can see we're almost at 90 watts, which is still better than the factory power supply. I think we were getting 60 out of that, give or take. So here we're at 90 already. And like I said, I'm going to take these wires that are going into the meter out of the equation in a second. So I just want to show you the voltage, I guess, real quick before I do anything. Okay, so you see how we're running 13.33, and I'm touching the wires here, so barely touching them, but so we're at 13.33. Now there wasn't much range when I adjusted the voltage there. I think it went down to maybe low 12s. I can't remember. I don't think it went into 11. It was low 12. Well, you know what? Got enough of these alligator clips. Let's just show you. So what I'm going to do is just hook up the voltmeter, and this way have my hands free. Okay, so all I'm going to do is take this out of here, put it in here. So I'm going to wind it down all the way. Oh, I lied. Okay, so it does go down to 10.31. And I'm cranking it up. And I'm going to get it. So the max is 13.33. Well, once I get it connected directly to it, it'd be interesting just to try it like at 12.6. In theory, it should work at 12.6 or 13.3, but so I'm back. All I really did was just put these caps, these wing twists on here, so that I didn't have to hold them while I was showing you what I was doing. Okay, so you can see we're here at 0. I don't have it plugged in. We're gonna go ahead and turn it back on. I turned it off so I didn't accidentally short anything out. I'll just set this to wattage, and then what we're gonna do is plug it in over here. And now, in theory, because we don't have the resistance of us trying to check the amperage in, this should actually climb. So just plugged it in, and I'm going to keep my eye on it just to make sure it doesn't go too high. And once it starts creeping up there, we'll go ahead and adjust the amperage setting. So I think we were around 90, I think, before when I had the fluke in the circuit. but I'm pretty sure I thought I saw it go up to 100 before when I had. So all I'm going to do is turn this, and we're going to watch this. So we're sitting at 74. Okay, there we go. 108, 114. Okay, it's 113, 115. Kind of interesting how it's jumping all around. 115, 92, 91, 116. What I'm not sure here is if this is the PWM controller trying to regulate that, or if somehow it's the power supply. I can't imagine the power supply pulling back and cutting back the amperage. I gotta imagine it's the controller. I'm not up all the way on the amperage. What I'm curious, I don't want to ride it too much over where it's at, but I'm going to go up just a little higher. I'm just going to turn this up a little bit more. It's definitely making a noise. You know, you can see it touching at 120, so I'm not going to drive the amperage any higher, just to be on the safe side. I'm going to get down close to it to see if I could hear it. Yeah, it's definitely making that noise when I had the other power supply up over 115. I don't know if that's good, long-term good for it or not, but I'm just going to back the amperage down until it gets under 110. I'm going to go maybe just to try to touch it a little bit higher to see if we can get some stabilization. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy, huh? So I'm at a stable 108. And it's a feather adjustment on the on that power supply. I'm just trying to get close to it, see if I can hear any noise at 108. No, I don't hear any humming. So I'm gonna try to go a little higher. Okay, 112, I definitely hear it. And it's bouncing around. So it almost seems like if it's 110 or less, it's safe. I'm gonna go back off a little bit. Okay, I still hear it. 112, it's bouncing. So let me back off just a little bit more. Oh, and it went away. So I don't know. I think that magic number on this PWM controller here is 110. At least on mine, it appears to be. Anything over 110, it starts humming like it's a weird noise that it makes, and it seems to lose the stability. And again, I don't know if that's the power supply cutting its amperage back or if that's the PWM in here. But anyway, I mean, here we go. So we almost got 110 watts, which is way better than my stock power supply. And the cool thing is I can just leave this set at that, and all I have to do is make a little adapter to plug into the, I'll get an MC4, a flexible MC4 on this side, and I'll just swap the power supply out so I can plug this into my household electric instead of using that stock power cord, and I'm putting out 107 watts. There you go. So guys, I just wanted to show you, only to be fair, to show you the factory charger and what it puts into this Yeti 400 lithium. I think you've probably seen some other videos out there. It looked about 54 watts, some of the videos I saw on YouTube. But notice it says 16 volts and 5 amps, so that's 80 watts. That's what this thing's rated at. Doesn't mean it's going to actually do it. So I just wanted to show you, I'm still going good over here. I'm up to 70%, and I'm just going to go ahead and unplug. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this. I will say that this is warm. I think I showed that earlier in another video, but the connector on the edge is kind of warm. I'm sorry, a temperature gauge on it to show you, but as a matter of fact, let me see if I have one. So let's see what we're shooting here. So it is 80 degrees out today. So there you go, 114. Yeah, when I first took it out, it felt a little warm. 123, 124. Whoops. It'd help if I actually had that in the camera, right? So you can see. But this is my Rock Pal's connector here. So this section here goes to my Rock Pal solar panel, which is rated at 100 watts, but I don't think it'll ever do 100 watts. But yeah, I just don't know if 120 degrees is good for this. I have to look at the operating range temperature for this kind of material. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to show you. So I'm just gonna unplug. I just unplugged this power pack here. And by the way, this thing is mildly warm. These particular model does not have a fan in it. It's designed not to. I put the darn temperature thing away, right? I took a shot at this. This feels like it might be somewhere in the neighborhood of 95 to 100, give or take. Anyway, so let's just zero out the watts over here, and what we're gonna do now is just plug in the AC power cord. So this is the standard wall outlet the standard wall adapter that comes with it, and we're going to plug in over here, and we're going to see it come on. And because we're at 70%, there's no reason why it should not take the maximum that power supply can give it for that PWM controller. So you can see, probably going to go around the 60 watt mark. I think that's what it was. When I tested it earlier, it seemed to hang around 60 watts. So, and that's what I'm going to get with the wall outlet. And again, it's a rated about an 80 watt power supply. I've ever only see it put around the neighborhood of 60 out there. And I spent, just so you know, for that I spent $30, and that included shipping. Which I thought was a really good deal. Basically, for 30 bucks, I now have a power supply that can power this thing, you know, in my opinion, probably the way it was meant to be powered, you know, at 100 watts or 110 watts instead of 60 watts. Now, there's a lot of conflicting, I guess, information out there as to how fast you can safely charge lithium. But I have to say, if this thing, this PWM controller allows you to charge at, what is it, 22 volts and a maximum of 10 amps. So, you know, if you took 12 volts times 10 amps, that's 120 volts. So if you're allowed to charge through solar with that amount of wattage, there, in my opinion, is no reason why they shouldn't have made this power supply here put out at least 100 watts if they wanted to be on the safe side. But you know, again, it's only doing 60. It's, in my opinion, they could have went up a little higher, whether it be 80 or, you know, 100. And again, I did see some of these 1400s and 3000s that you can get the MPPT controller, and you can basically go from 60, you know, 50 to 70 or 60 to 80. I saw it gives about 15 to 20 more watts with the MPPT controller, which probably makes sense. I would expect it to be a little bit higher than a PWM controller. So, you know, again, I think this is an effective way if you want to charge your Yeti and you don't want to use the factory AC cord, go out and buy yourself an external power supply that is rated, you know, appropriately. And again, this power supply is actually, I think it'll do 160 watts. And I got it that way because I didn't want to be maxing it out. So I didn't want to buy a 120 watt power supply and then keep it maxed out. This way I figured if I'm driving 100, I'm probably maybe 60 to 70% of its capacity. And that should lead to a cooler internal circuitry and a longer life is what I was thinking with that. it was interesting to see. You know, I was concerned about the 12 volt model. I was thinking about going to the 15 volt because remember, this can handle 22 volts. So I would be willing to bet you can get a the 15 volt model. 24 volt, I don't know. I'd be a little afraid in case if you can't dial it down to 22 volts. Some of these have a different range than other when, you know, the voltage and the amperage settings. Because remember, at this stage, it's going to be putting in amps into this battery until it gets to the higher range. I haven't tested that, maybe 90, 95%. And then I think it would dial back the amperage. And remember, the PWM controller is just like an on-off, 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 on-off kind of really rudimentary way to regulate voltage and amperage. But it's proven. So, all right, there you go. Just wanted to follow up with the AC cord power pack and see how that compared to the modified pack that I'm using. And it looks like 60 watts compared to 110 that I can drive in with this.